Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Pisces. If Pisces is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so we have, it looks like the number 91, 9-1, kind of hanging out on the outside right here. You can see, and I'm looking at it. Oops, like this. So it looks like, kind of like 91. It could also be pi, right? Like the equation pi, Pi. And so tonight we have the 3 of Cups, which has everything to do with abundance. Lots of. All right. I just got to knock, and we'll lift it up. All right. And so, let's see what these tea leaves are going to tell us today. I see a cat immediately, a little kitten right here. You can see the eyes, the nose, maybe like the mouth right in here. Here are the ears, the side of the face. Here's another ear coming down the side of the face here. Now, it kind of looks like it's on its back. Like this is the body, right? And the little paws and all of that. Very cute. Very cute. But when we look at it this way, we can also see there's an older cat. Look at this one. You can see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, or mouth would be down here. Ears, face, okay. Now we also have what looks like a shepherd. I thought Saturn, okay. Let me just tell you, I am in full Saturn mode. Saturnalia coming up in December. It is my time. So lots of Saturn energy floating around. So we have the shepherd. The shepherd has a chicken on top of their head. Look at it. It's like a hen just hanging out. Here's the head. And it's holding maybe what is that called? A staff, right? Is that what it's called? The shepherd's staff? I don't know. I'm thinking of Little Bo Peep. Is that the one where she has like the cane-shaped walking stick or whatever? And on the actual cloak or robe or whatever it is, you can see there are little hearts. Little hearts. And so I'm looking at this and I feel like there's almost, we have a young cat, we have the older cat, we have this kind of Saturn shepherd energy. Saturn, if you are not familiar, is a planet, of course, but also a god. And the counterpart, which means like the equivalent, right? So Saturn is, I always mix them up. Saturn has to be Roman, right? And Kronos, right, is the counterpart, is Saturn, is Greek. And I'm going to look that up as I'm, I feel like, yes, I should know this, but man, it's been a long day. Also, if you watch my readings, you know, I don't know what the heck is going on half the time. Yeah, Roman. Saturn is Roman. So, and fun fact here, Shani is a Vedic Saturn, but he rides on a crow, which is pretty cool. But so we have this, and I feel like if you know anything about Kronos, Saturn, you know that there's like a lot of imagery of him as an old man holding a hourglass, looking kind of decrepit sometimes, right? And really is kind of a meditation on our mortality, right? This is not very different than memento mori, or what is I'm so sorry. Oh, Santa Muerte, right? I'm like, I can't think of what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, so I feel like you are really noticing your aging process right now. I mean, you could be one of these lucky young ones that are like, oh, I just got my first gray hair, right? But I think this is more, it's more involved. It's not just like the physical aspects, although let's face it, that's a big part of, getting older, right? Today it was raining and my daughter says, I just knew in my mind it was gonna rain, Mom. I just knew. Something in my mind told me. And I was like, oh, cool. And she said, does that happen to you? And I said, well, yeah, I mean, not, you know how I know is my knees start to hurt and my right hip starts to hurt. My hands start to feel like they're cramped up a little bit. That's how I know it's going to rain. And that is definitely, getting older. You become like a weather station, right? But I think that you are kind of maybe reminiscing. Maybe this is something that's more sentimental, nostalgic, or maybe it is. You're lamenting. You're going through kind of the grieving process that happens when we have these rites of passage in our life. When we start to really kind of look and see, my goodness, I'm getting older. I'm getting older and I'm slowing down. And well, even people treat me differently. Right? I don't know if that has happened to you. But yeah, I feel like people are way nicer to me now. It might just be that I've like calmed down a little bit. But yeah, I think, people treat you a little differently as you get older and it changes. And, for me, I have always been told by other women who are getting older or are, well into their golden years or, whatever. You start to become invisible, right? Men don't talk to you as much, maybe. People just don't necessarily engage with you as often, right? Just randomly in public or, whatever it is. And I don't know. This might be true. Maybe this happens to most people, maybe a few, no, I don't know. Nobody talks to me. Nobody's ever talked to me, so I don't know. But yeah, whenever I hear something like that, I think, oh my gosh, that's awesome. That is so awesome. It's like a natural stealth, right? All of a sudden you are just able to like move freely. Nobody's going to question what you're doing. What are you doing? But I wonder, because we have the cats, okay, and we have kind of the little kitty cat in this happy laying on their back and exposing their stomach, which we know if you have animals or you've been around animals, when they show us their belly, it means they trust us, right? So I feel like there's an indication of, in maybe your youth, there was a little bit more openness. Maybe you were, a little bit more hopeful, positive, trusting, these kinds of things. Now, this one, it doesn't look bad, but it does look, older. It looks like an older cat. And I just get this feeling of, being alone a lot. right? And now the cat represents independence. If you've ever had cats or been around cats, you know they do what they want. They're just going to do what they want. And, you know, some of us, like myself, I love that. I love somebody that's going to do what they want. That's why I like cats. That's why I've always had cats. But I do feel, and I'm looking up here, we also have a person just kind of walking, right? We have another person kind of walking the other direction. And I get this feeling of, like, you have a desire to connect with people, a desire to be brave and just, you know, compliment somebody. Hey, you have a beautiful coat on. That's such a great color on you. You know, whatever. But something holds you back, right? You don't want to bother people or seem like you're overstepping or, you know, don't want to comment on somebody you don't know or whatever it is. And I can see that it's like it's not that you are, I don't even feel like it's like you're lonely. You have a lot of stuff going on. You're around people. But I think it's like this desire to have a deeper connection, you know? And I feel like this aging process, it is like an alarm for you. And the chicken, well, the rooster, very much a sign, right? And I know I said this is a hen, but I feel like, yeah, we're going to switch to rooster, especially because how it's roosting up here, how it's perched up there. But it is the alarm, right? Cock-a-doodle-doo, wake everybody up, get up, get up, get up. Just acutely aware. Everything's changing. It's always changing. Sometimes you might feel like you can't get your footing. The current is just going so fast. The creek, the river, the water's moving. There's no stopping it. And you're trying to put your feet down and stop. I don't want to keep aging. I don't want to keep going in this direction. I don't know. What do we do there? It's hard, right? And it changes from day to day, moment to moment. Is this something that we invite? Yeah, maybe sometimes we're like super stoked about getting older. I know, you know, I am for the most part, right? But then when I have to be an adult, I say, my goodness, why? Why am I happy about this? You know? But I do. I feel like this is the big struggle right now. It's very existential. You know, I don't think it's like any one thing. But I feel like, you know, it's something that has you really thinking. And starting to consider, you know, I feel different. My life is different. And where do I go from here? Maybe it's time for some changes. Now, I want to bring up, we have the word ray. I have it right here. R-A-Y. R-A-Y. Okay? And then I turn it over here and we have R-A-Y. Kind of, it's a Y. It's a Y. Ray. Again. And I'm thinking, this maybe is a person. It's R-A-Y. It could be R-E-Y. But I think it's R-A-Y. So maybe it is kind of a ray of sunshine coming. But it's repeated. It's repeated. It's like almost when I'm thinking about it, it feels like a mantra almost. So we also have, it looks like an F up here. Well, this one looks like it says F-E-R. F-E-R on both directions. And I don't know if that's, I don't think that's even a word. F-E-R. F-E-R. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But then we move over here and we have this little skull. And it looks like it says X-O. So, and then also a scorpion right up here. So maybe a Scorpio, I don't know. But I almost feel like this is somebody, now it could be the Ray person, or it could be the ray of sunshine. But this person, I keep thinking, oh my gosh, they have like a, maybe like a tattoo or like a sticker, like on their computer, or, you know, a button or a patch on their backpack, or, you know, whatever it is. But there is some kind of skull that they wear, maybe on their skin, maybe it's like a ring, maybe, you know, I don't know. But for some reason, they feel related to this imagery. And it is aesthetic. It's not like, you know, death following them around. That's not what I mean. But we also have XO. So I feel like there is such a great fondness here. And maybe even love. I mean, as I was saying that, look, I just was like, I looked up here, it looks like a winking smiley face. So maybe it is flirtation. It has to be, right? It has to be. Oh, look at that. Okay, so I turned it this way. Now we have, it looks like you can see the face right here. Here's the mouth. And to me, it kind of looks like a gingerbread man or woman, or, you know, whatever they, gingerbread person. But it looks angry. I don't know if you like the season. I don't know if you like the holidays. Now, you might not even celebrate Christmas, but generally, just, you know, it's, well, at least in America, it's everywhere. It is everywhere, so you can't really get away from it. It looks like we have the number 28. And over here, it looks like it's a 666. Right in the Scorpio or scorpion claws up there. Yeah. I feel like there's like a lot of fear, anger going on around you. I don't know if it's you specifically, or like you're part of maybe a group of people, maybe it's family, but I feel like there's just a sense of anxiety, lots of anxiety. We also have the letter J repeated twice. So we have J. That might be an important one. And I want to show up here. We have, it looks like a person pointing up at the stars. Okay? So dreaming. And here's what I feel like. I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on for you right now. I feel like there's a lot of emphasis on your aging, or feeling like you're getting older. Your life is changing. Dynamics within your life are changing. Maybe within work, friendship, family, all, you know, it changes slowly, right? But then sometimes one day you look and you think, oh my gosh, everything's like way different right now than it was even like, you know, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And I feel like, you know, there is a sense of really trying to embrace this, process through it, integrate it, all of that. You know, I feel like it's like a real sense of, I'm not gonna let this take me over. I'm not going to let this like keep me in a terrible mood for like the rest of my life, right? But then I feel like there is, you know, a love interest, a flirtation at least. And I think this is fun for you. I think that this is something that maybe at times can make you feel a little insecure, right? You know, and that might have to do with the age thing. I mean, we all have these moments. I even, with my husband, who, like, we're best friends. I mean, we're best friends. We live in our own little world together. And still, you know, I'm of the thinking, if somebody wants to leave, please, you know, find your way. I don't own anybody, right? I don't own anything, really, you know, in life at all. So it is what it is. But at the same time, there are these sneaking thoughts, you know, I think maybe I'm getting too old. What if he meets somebody that's young and they can have another round of kids, or, you know, and these are thoughts that, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they're conditioned. We take them in directly and ambiently. You know, and we might actively work against this kind of thinking. And yet it still can get in there. All other things in life point towards this not being true. But it's still, you know, it's something that you might be considering or thinking about, and then it becomes somehow, you know, ruminating about it. And I feel like it's just, you know, these things, there's a feeling of change happening, and not feeling like you can know, you know, like this is what's going to happen next. It's starting to feel a little more loosey-goosey, right? Life in general. Like things seemed really like tight and just, you know, you had your schedule, you knew what you were doing. If you asked me what's going on in 3 months, I'd probably have it on the calendar. But it's starting to change. And it's something I think that is bringing you anxiety, but also a sense of like, oh my gosh, there's so much potential here. I could do so many things that I have dreamed about for years. And so begins a resorting of life a little bit. Now, we have somebody. We have somebody who, the Scorpion person, the Scorpio. And we have a Z. It looks almost like, this reminds me of the word, maybe it reminds me of the name Zachary. Something about skiing as well. Up here we have skiing. So I feel like there's this like kind of, and I'm imagining you're in the northern hemisphere, because if you're in the southern hemisphere, you're not going towards the cold. you're like have pushed it out of your mind, right? But I feel like there is a sense of excitement somebody who is really excited about the winter, about maybe the holidays. Maybe it's your family, you know, maybe this is one of your children, or I don't know, but I feel like you don't necessarily like this time of year for whatever reason. It could be trauma, childhood trauma. It could be your family never put a lot of effort into it, or maybe they put so much emphasis on whatever holidays that you might partake in that when they happened, it was like super anxiety if anything went wrong, right? And it didn't feel fun. And so you've kind of maybe walked away from some of these traditions, but the people around you really like it, right? And so I feel like there's a compromise there. You've had to make a compromise. And I wonder if you are kind of going back and forth about how involved you're going to be this year. Yeah, I feel like it's almost kind of like, well, I happen to have, I happen to have a plane ticket, 2 days before whatever holiday. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. Oh, darn. But I do. I think that, this is something that you're going to have to think through. I read something recently about people with anxiety, people who have a tendency to ruminate or fixate or, whatever. That journaling, everybody loves to say journaling, and I do too, because I like to write. But for some people, it actually can be detrimental because you are sitting there going through, your feelings and your thoughts about it, maybe even writing the actual facts of the situation, and you're just reliving it over and over and over again. So maybe journaling isn't for you, but maybe it is. Or maybe, I'm always about pushing that acts of sublimation, creating something with the feelings that you're having. I don't care if it's paint, thrown against the wall. You could be finger painting. It could be, I do a lot of, I'll lift this up and show you. It's not exactly art. It's actually a magical object, but I do not magic a lot. And, it's something that it does. It helps with whatever I am going through. It helps with whatever I am trying to seek some kind of clarity about. And even when I am using it as a device for my intentions or making any kind of, appeals to the divine or whomever. But it could be whatever. And sublimation is really the act of taking things. It doesn't have to be negative things, but oftentimes, it is difficult things or things that we don't know how to share with others or that we even want to recognize in ourselves. And we put it into some kind of creative thing, project, outlet, And so, I think that this is something to begin with. If you are interested, right? Arts and crafts, man, get to it. All right. I'm going to do 3 lucky numbers. 41. Okay. Number 3. 41, 3. 51. All right. And then we're going to end with our Mary Magdalene Oracle deck. And these are from Megan Watterson, and they're very beautiful. We'll just use this as kind of like an ending note, a little punctuation to the reading. We'll stop right where it feels right. And it says, the red thread, good recognizes good. I always say game recognizes game. That's what I grew up saying. You know, everybody said that. But yeah, we are attracted to one another through our energies, through the light that we emanate. And when we encounter somebody who really matches that vibe, we know. You know. You just know. And so there it is. All right. Wow. Pisces, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. Also, if you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Absolutely. Now I have to run along and go watch it's election night here in the US. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna lament anything. I know. Do you believe me? No. But yeah. So I just want to tell you all, I love you. I love you. I love you. Everything is gonna be okay. No matter what happens here, we're gonna find a way through it. We always do. Okay? All right, we'll talk in a few days from now. Good night.